What's your "I'm glad I tried it, but never again" story? Hot air balloon. I was 4,500 feet in the air for an hour and a half with nothing separating me from a horrifying death but a wicker basket. Stand-up comedy at an open mic. I enjoyed writing. I enjoyed being on stage. I got my first laugh. And I enjoyed the feeling after getting off stage. But the intense anxiety leading to being on stage was not even a little bit worth it for me. Public speaking is not my forte. Waxing my back. The process itself wasn't bad. But then again, I have a high tolerance for pain. The woman waxing me kept commenting on how impressed she was that I didn't cry out in pain. The smoothness was great. The worst part was when, a few weeks later, it started growing back. OMFG, the itching. Definitely not worth the cost. But glad I know this now. I got to land, me being the only passenger, in an auto-rotating helicopter. Auto-rotation is what helicopters do when they lose power at altitude. The force of the fall spins the blades of the helicopter, giving the pilot enough control to land. Thing is, once power is, intentionally, in my case, lost, the blades slow down and the helicopter falls until the blades spin back up to speed. Nay, drop like 50 feet. It was a rush, but nope. Ed. For clarity, I'm not a pilot. I was the lone passenger. Campervan around the Aussie outback in the midst of summer. TT was a beautiful journey treading the razor line between life and death. Lonely, desolate scenery, the friendliest locals when you found them, and every town seemed to have its own speciality in biting insect, mosquitoes, ants, flies. So hot in the middle of the day that if you made the mistake of walking around, your feet would literally begin to cook in your shoes. We stayed in a shitty converted campervan and pretty much roughed it except for one day in actual accommodation. It was fun to do once. But getting into our home shower after a week of public toilet sink baths was heaven. Just once. But never again. RN. Piloting a plane. My girlfriend got me a Groupon for a lesson and I was super excited about it. The guy even let me take off. I was thinking, I don't know if you should hand your life over to a stranger. Man, I barely trust myself. It was a very small plane, so you feel every bit of wind and it was stressful for me. Maybe that goes away if you do it 5 times or so, but I just wanted to try it once. Now I'm good. Living in an apartment where I'm in charge of roommates. Had to evict people who didn't pay. Dealt with extreme lack of cleanliness. It's honestly just easier to live somewhere small and cheap, alone, than a nice big place with roommates. Cliff diving. Was about to chicken out when I was on the edge of the cliff, but my girlfriend grabbed me tight and jumped off with me. I hate heights. A little less now, but that was replaced with a new fear of landing on top of sharp rocks. Edit. Oh wow. RIP inbox. I didn't expect that my answer to an empty question would explode. I'm thankful for all the upvotes though. At Edit 2. Female tag is to stop people confusing me with a guy. I can't please anyone. First, people get agitated that I don't tag my other comments and mislead people, and now it's because it isn't necessary. A huge burger with 2 giant donuts as buns. To be honest, it wasn't that bad. But that feeling of pure diabetes prevented me from getting another core, even finishing the one I had. Edit. To those of you asking, it was at a music festival in CA. It was about twice the size of an In-N-Out burger with Krispy Kreme donuts. Roller coasters that go backwards. I'm not even sure if I'm glad I tried it. TT was horrible. Building my own PC and overclocking it. It was a fun experience. Especially the OC part. Watching the temperature, adjusting the voltage, checking stability, getting it as fast as possible while keeping the temperature in check and still running stable. These days, I don't care enough for those extra few % of performance. But I am glad I did it once. Working at McDonald's, Sweden. I now have high respect for people who work in service cent in general. I've learned to be more patient when waiting for my food whenever I'm at fast food restaurants. I know the painful stress they're experiencing and I won't put them through more by being an impatient asshole. But I will never, ever work there again. The stress is horrendous and people can be real jerks to the employers for no reason whatsoever. I worked at a fast food chain and was emptying out and cleaning the trash cans. I had the cabinet doors of the trash can holder thing open and was kneeled by it cleaning the inside. When some guy dropped his half-full large coffee into the hole in the top of the cabinet, it fell down to the empty bottom and splashed all over my face and hands and the inside of the cabinet I was cleaning. He just looks at me and goes, "Hey, didn't see you there," and then walked away. Put on a fast food uniform and a lot of people forget you're a person. All sorts of weird food. Most weird things I've eaten I actually like. Organ meat, wild game, very rare or raw meat, that sort of thing. I see something different on a menu and I'm fucking ordering that shit because I've discovered all sorts of weird shit I ended up loving. But I, 11, never eat bats again. You know what they call bats? Chicken of the cave. Dating a single mother. I loved her and loved the kids but it didn't work out. Now I'm grieving the loss of not just the relationship with her but also with her 3 beautiful kids. I went to a maid cafe in Akihabara. My friend, a Japanese woman, wanted to take me seriously. The whole experience was pure cringe. First, the maid said that I'm her master. Also we had to say "Nian Nian" when we were ready to order. One of the drink options included a maid making your drink in front of you while chanting your name and clapping. I did not go for that one. While we were there, some other guests paid for the maids to sing a song so we had to watch a couple of them shake streamers around and sing and dance along to a Dragon Force style anime song or something. We also had a picture taken at the end. We had to pose like cats. Yeah, it was awful, but at least it's something to talk and complain about with internet strangers. Here's an example of one. https YouTube BD Pahik. Childbirth. Although I could argue I wasn't particularly glad to have experienced it in the first place. Edit. My kid was planned. Chad a few messages asking why I had a kid in the first place. I was never fond of squeezing a human from my lady bits. The birth was not the best. Labor for 36 hours with his spine resting against mine. Kid's heart rate would not go up after each contraction. They cut me so they could use forceps. An emergency co-section was on the cards but we could have lost him in the time it took to prep for surgery. I hemorrhaged and then went septic. I am currently riding a Vespa through Rome. Italian driving sucks and I am so anxious but I am glad I crossed this off my bucket list. I am not texting and driving. I stopped for lunch. I love that I can be farting in bed in my boxer shorts and be on a thread with somebody who's doing something so exciting like riding a Vespa through Rome.